Together we rise, together we rise.
Let's talk about something that many of us we felt at one time or another in our lives, but haven't always had the words to name it. Have you ever experienced collateral damage because someone close to you never healed? Maybe their unspoken trauma, it became the tension in your home, or maybe their unresolved pain, it showed up in how they spoke to you, or even how they didn't. But have you ever been navigating the emotional fallout from their story while you're still trying to make sense of your own? You fill in the blank. And also, let's keep in mind sometimes we've been the giver of this, and sometimes we've been the receiver. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because sometimes what we're carrying is not even ours. It could be someone else's pain, someone else's story, but somehow it became our burden. Now you've shown up with compassion and you've even done your best to hold space for individuals. But lately, it's felt like way too much. Now, could it be that you're holding someone else's healing in your hands? Now, have you ever found yourself navigating relationships, workplaces, or even family dynamics where the emotional atmosphere it felt really complicated? It felt like there was tension, short tempers, and even dismissiveness. And while we may not take it personally, but the truth could it be that we're often dealing with other people who haven't healed and the pain that they've never addressed? And sometimes that pain, it can leak and it can show up in how they speak to you, how they treat you, and even show up in how they show up in your life. And this is where Miriam's her story it speaks volumes. And she was bold, gifted, and even a prophetess. She watched over baby Moses and helped preserve his life. But even Miriam, a leader, she carried some unresolved emotions. In Numbers 12, she and Aaron spoke against Moses. Why? Maybe it was jealousy. Maybe it was pride. Or maybe years of walking faithfully, but feeling unseen and unheard. Now, God paused everything, not because she wasn't worthy, but because her heart needed tending. Miriam's pain, unspoken for so long, had finally erupted. Whew. Sound familiar? Sometimes the people that we love, they lash out, they shut down, or even pull back. And not because of you, but because of what they haven't healed in themselves. And if we're not careful, we begin to shrink. We begin to second guess and sacrifice our peace trying to manage their storm. Let's take a moment here and reflect. Let's begin to ask ourselves some questions. Whose pain am I intentionally carrying? Have I taken on someone else's harshness as truth about me? Am I responding to others based on my healed heart or my hurt heart? Now, where might I need to release something that was never mine to carry? Never mine to carry emotionally, spiritually, or even relational? Have I confused compassion with self neglect? Now, you can be empathetic without becoming entangled. Here's what Miriam teaches us. Even the most faithful among us sometimes still need space to process, space to heal, and even realign. Now, God, He didn't abandon her, He lovingly interrupted her. And maybe today, He's gently interrupting you too, not to shame you, but to remind you that you are not responsible for someone else's healing journey. Your emotional well being, it does matter, and you can love them and still choose you. Here's a gentle reminder: you're not broken, you've just been carrying way too much for far too long. I encourage you, begin to release what was never yours to carry. Begin to reclaim your peace and let God be their healer and let you be free. My invitation to you is to begin to breathe, let go, possibly journal, and then share this with a sister or a friend who's been carrying what's not theirs. Because healing, it starts with truth.